Picture this. You've worked hard your entire life, saved when you could, and tried to be careful with your money. But somehow, it still feels like your bank account isn't growing the way you hoped. You wonder, where is all my money going? If that sounds familiar, don't worry. You're not alone. Many people, especially those in retirement or nearing it, often feel like their finances are slipping away, even when they're not living extravagantly. The truth is, it's not about how much you make. It's about how you spend. And sometimes, money disappears on things we don't even think twice about. But here's the good news. Once you recognize where your money is being wasted, you can take simple steps to keep more of it in your pocket. And you don't have to sacrifice happiness or comfort to do it. Today, we're going to talk about the sneaky ways money might be slipping away and how small changes can help you feel more financially secure and free. The illusion of wealth and how it tricks us. Let's start with something many of us have been taught since we were young. Looking successful means you are successful. Think about this. Have you ever known someone who always had the latest car, designer clothes, or expensive watches, yet somehow always seemed stressed about money? Maybe they were constantly working, taking on extra jobs, or even borrowing money just to keep up their lifestyle. That's because spending money to look rich is not the same as being rich. Some of the wealthiest people in the world, like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, don't care about flashy brands. Buffett has lived in the same house for decades, and Mark Zuckerberg, one of the richest men on the planet, wears the same simple clothes every day. Why? Because they know the truth. Real financial success isn't about showing off. It's about having financial security and freedom. How brand name obsession drains your wealth. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that expensive brands equal better quality. After all, marketing companies work hard to convince us that a designer bag, high-end shoes, or a luxury car will make us feel more important, respected, or even happier. But let's pause for a second. Does spending hundreds of dollars on a logo really improve your life? Let's say you need a new winter coat. There's a designer version for $500, and then there's a well-made, durable option for $100. If both keep you warm and last several years, what are you really paying extra for? The name? The feeling of status? That's exactly how people lose money over time without realizing it. Now, this doesn't mean you should never treat yourself. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but the key is knowing when something is truly worth the price, and when you're just paying for an image. The house trap, when home ownership becomes a burden. For many people, buying a home was the dream, the symbol of stability, success, and security. And for some, it truly is. But what if I told you that rushing into home ownership too soon or buying too much house could actually make financial life harder? Let's take a moment to think back. Do you remember when a family friend bought a beautiful big house, only to end up struggling to pay for it? Maybe they had to take on extra work, cut back on vacations, or even borrow money just to cover the mortgage, taxes, and maintenance costs. Owning a home is wonderful, but only if it fits your financial situation. Warren Buffett himself advises against taking on more house than you need. Why? Because homes come with hidden costs. There are property taxes, repairs, insurance, and unexpected expenses that can quickly drain your savings. That's why many financially savvy people rent for longer than you might expect. They focus on building their savings first before committing to a big mortgage. They know that financial flexibility, having money available when you need it, is more important than rushing into home ownership too soon. If you already own your home and it's working for you, that's great. But if you're struggling with high costs, remember that downsizing or renting might not be a step backward. It could actually be a smart step toward financial freedom. The simple shift that changes everything. Here's the real takeaway. Being financially smart isn't about depriving yourself or living a life of restriction. It's about making choices that give you more freedom, more security, and ultimately, more peace of mind. Start small. The next time you're about to buy something, ask yourself, am I paying for the actual quality or just for a brand name? Is this purchase adding long-term value to my life? Will this decision give me more financial flexibility in the future? Even tiny shifts in how you spend can add up to a major difference over time. And once you start seeing that extra money in your account not being wasted on things that don't truly serve you, you'll feel an incredible sense of empowerment. So, what's one small change you can make today? Try it and see how it makes a difference. And if you're enjoying these insights, keep reading, because in the next section, we'll talk about hidden money traps that many people fall into without even realizing it. You won't want to miss it. In the last section, we talked about how the illusion of wealth, buying expensive brands, and rushing into home ownership can quietly drain your finances. Now, let's take it a step further. Because sometimes, it's not the big purchases that hurt the most. It's the small, unnoticed expenses that sneak up on us every single day. Think about it. Have you ever looked at your bank statement and thought, where did all my money go? You don't remember making any big purchases, yet somehow your balance is lower than expected. That's because money doesn't always disappear in one big chunk. It trickles away slowly, often in places we don't even realize. But here's the good news. Once you spot these hidden expenses, you can easily stop them. And when you do, you'll feel like you just gave yourself a raise without working a single extra hour. The subscription trap. Paying for things you don't even use. Let's start with something that has become so common, most of us don't even think about it. Subscriptions. Not too long ago, people only had a few bills to worry about. Things like electricity, water, and maybe cable TV. But today, everything is a subscription. Streaming services, gym memberships, cloud storage, premium news sites, mobile apps, music services, the list goes on. Now, be honest. How many of these services are you actually using? It's easy to sign up, especially when the companies offer free trials. They make it seem so convenient, just one click to start. And before you know it, you've forgotten about it. But your bank account hasn't. A study found that the average person spends hundreds of dollars a year on subscriptions they don't use. It's money just drifting away month after month, without you even noticing. The fix? Take control. Set aside 10 minutes today to check your bank statement. Look for any automatic charges you don't recognize. Cancel anything you're not actively using. It's like giving yourself an instant pay raise. And if you still love your streaming services, try this. Instead of paying for 5, keep only 1 at a time. Finish watching what you want, then switch. It's a simple way to cut costs without sacrificing what you enjoy. Smoking, the cost that burns more than just your money. Now, Let's talk about a habit that's been draining people's wallets for decades: smoking. We all know smoking is bad for our health, but what most people don't think about is how much money it takes out of their pocket year after year. Imagine this. Someone who smokes a pack a day spends thousands of dollars a year on cigarettes. Now, picture this money stacked up on a table. That's a vacation, a new investment, or even a big chunk of a retirement fund, gone in smoke. And it doesn't stop there. Smoking often leads to higher medical bills, costly prescriptions, and lost time due to health issues. It's a double loss. It drains both your money and your well-being. But here's the inspiring part. Every single day, people decide to quit. And they don't just regain their health, they take back their financial freedom. If quitting seems tough, start small. Even cutting back can save a surprising amount of money, and over time, it adds up to something truly life-changing. The car mistake that costs thousands. Now, here's a financial trap that almost everyone has fallen into at some point: buying a brand new car. Cars are exciting. The smell of a brand new interior, the thrill of driving something shiny and new. It's easy to see why people love them. But here's what most people don't realize. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it starts losing value. Fast. In just 1 year, a new car can lose 20 to 30% of its value. In 5 years, it could be worth half or even less of what you originally paid for it. Imagine you buy a car for $30,000. A few years later, you decide to sell it, only to realize it's now worth just $15,000. That's like throwing away $15,000 for the sake of having something new. Meanwhile, the smartest financial minds, including Warren Buffett, don't waste money on new cars. Instead, they buy cars that are 2 to 3 years old. These cars still look great and drive perfectly, but cost thousands less. It's one of the easiest ways to keep more money in your pocket without sacrificing quality. The silent wealth killer: credit card debt. Now, this is a big one. If there's one thing that has quietly trapped millions of people in financial stress, it's credit card debt. Credit cards feel easy to use, too easy, in fact. Just a quick swipe, and whatever you want is yours. But here's the catch. If you don't pay off the full balance every month, interest starts eating away at your money faster than you can imagine. Let's say you buy something for $1,000 and only make the minimum payments each month. By the time you finish paying it off, you might have paid nearly double the original cost, just in interest. That's money that could have gone into your savings, your retirement, or even something fun like a vacation. Instead, it went straight into the pockets of credit card companies. But here's the secret that wealthy people know. Credit cards are only useful if you use them the right way. If you can pay off your balance in full every month, great. You can enjoy the convenience and even earn cashback or rewards. But if you're carrying a balance month to month, it's time to take back control. Start by paying more than the minimum payment. Even an extra $20 or $50 a month can make a huge difference in how quickly you pay off debt. And once you're debt-free, that's when your money finally starts working for you, instead of the other way around. The smallest changes make the biggest difference. Here's something powerful to think about. Most people don't lose money because of one huge mistake. They lose money little by little, through small, everyday habits that seem harmless at first. But the moment you start noticing these hidden costs and making a few small changes. That's when everything shifts. That's when you start feeling in control again. That's when your money starts working for you instead of disappearing without a trace. And the best part? It's never too late to start. So, take a moment today and do just one thing. Cancel an old subscription. Start tracking your credit card payments, or consider a more affordable car option. Even one small action today can add up to something big tomorrow. And speaking of small changes that make a big impact, in the next section, we'll dive into another major money trap: impulse spending and overconsumption. If you've ever bought something on a whim and regretted it later, you won't want to miss this. In the last section, we talked about how money can slip away through hidden costs, subscriptions you don't use, expensive habits like smoking, overpaying for brand new cars, and credit card debt that silently drains your wealth. Once you start spotting those money leaks, you begin to realize something powerful. Wealth isn't just about making money, it's about keeping it. Now, let's talk about another trap that keeps many people from getting ahead: impulse spending and overconsumption. You might not even realize it's happening, but these small, unnecessary purchases can add up fast. Before you know it, you're left wondering why your bank account isn't growing the way you expected. But here's the good news. Once you learn how to control your spending habits, you'll start to feel more financially free, stress-free, and in control of your money. Let's dive in. Impulse buying. The silent wealth killer. Have you ever walked into a store for just one thing and walked out with a full cart? Or maybe you've seen a great deal online, one of those limited time-only sales, and bought something you didn't actually need, just because it felt like a good bargain? You're not alone. Stores and online retailers are experts at making us spend money without thinking. They use tricks like flash sales, buy one, get one free, and countdown timers to make you feel like you have to buy something right now, or you'll miss out. But let's pause for a second. How many times have you bought something on impulse, only to regret it later? Maybe it's a piece of clothing you never actually wear, kitchen gadgets that collect dust, or a subscription service you forgot to cancel. The reality is, most impulse buys bring only a moment of excitement, but don't add lasting value to your life. So, how do you stop? Here's a simple trick: the 24-hour rule. The next time you see something you think you want, don't buy it right away. Instead, wait 24 hours and see if you still feel the same way the next day. Chances are, the excitement will fade, and you'll realize you don't need it after all. If you do still want it, that's fine. But at least you've given yourself time to make a smart decision instead of an emotional one. Eating out. The hidden expense that adds up fast. Let's talk about something that most of us enjoy: eating out. Now, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself to a nice meal at a restaurant or grabbing coffee with a friend. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But when eating out becomes a regular habit instead of an occasional treat, that's when it starts hurting your finances. Think about it. How often do you pick up coffee on the go instead of making it at home? How many times do you order takeout because cooking feels like too much effort? These little decisions seem harmless in the moment, but over time they add up to thousands of dollars a year. Let's say you eat out 3 times a week, spending an average of $15 per meal. That's $45 a week, or nearly $2,400 a year. Now, imagine if you cooked at home more often. You could save a huge chunk of money while also eating healthier meals. And here's a fun tip. Turn cooking into a social event. Instead of meeting friends at a restaurant, invite them over for a home-cooked meal. Not only will you save money, but you'll also create better memories in a more personal setting, the gadget trap. Do you really need the latest model? Have you ever felt the urge to upgrade your phone, tablet, or laptop, even when the one you have still works perfectly fine? Every year, tech companies release new versions of their products, convincing us that we need the latest model. And for many people, it's tempting to upgrade, even when the improvements are minor. But here's the truth. Most of these upgrades aren't necessary. A brand new phone might have a slightly better camera or a slightly faster processor, but is that really worth spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars? The financially smart choice is to keep using your current devices as long as they still work well. Instead of upgrading every year, try holding on to your gadgets for at least 3 to 5 years. Not only will you save money, but you'll also help reduce electronic waste. A win-win. And if you do need to upgrade, consider buying a refurbished or gently used device. You can often get the same quality for a fraction of the price. The pressure to keep up. Social spending that holds you back. Now, this is a big one. Many people feel pressured to spend money just to keep up with friends, family, or neighbors. Maybe it's a friend who always goes on expensive vacations, or a neighbor who just bought a brand new car. It's easy to feel like you need to spend money to fit in or prove that you're doing well. But let's take a step back. Who are you really trying to impress? The people who truly care about you won't judge you based on what you own. They'll value you for who you are. And when you focus on what makes you happy, rather than what others think, you'll find real financial freedom. Here's a challenge. The next time you feel pressured to spend money on something just to keep up, pause and ask yourself, do I actually want this, or am I just trying to impress others? That one question can completely change the way you think about spending. The power of small changes. At the end of the day, financial success isn't about never spending money. It's about spending it wisely. If you can cut back on impulse buys, cook at home more often, stop upgrading gadgets unnecessarily, and let go of the pressure to keep up with others, you'll see a huge difference in your finances. And remember, it's not about making drastic changes overnight. Even small adjustments can add up to big results over time. So here's a small challenge to try today. Before buying anything new, wait 24 hours. See if you still want it the next day. Look at your recent bank statement and add up how much you've spent on eating out. Could you cut that down by just one meal per week? Resist the urge to upgrade your phone or gadgets unless you truly need to. Even just one of these changes can start putting more money back in your pocket. And guess what? We're just getting started. Because in the next section, we'll talk about something that affects so many people: addictive spending habits and lifestyle inflation. If you've ever felt like your expenses just keep growing, no matter how much money you make, you'll definitely want to keep reading. In the last section, we talked about impulse buying, the habit of eating out too often, constantly upgrading gadgets, and the social pressure to spend money just to keep up. These little habits can silently drain your finances without you even realizing it. But here's something even bigger that keeps people stuck in a financial rut: addictive spending and lifestyle inflation. Now, let's be honest. Have you ever felt like no matter how much money you make, it just never seems to be enough? It's like the moment you start earning more, your expenses magically increase. And somehow, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. That's not by accident. It's called lifestyle inflation, and it happens to almost everyone at some point. But the good news, you don't have to fall into the trap. Let's talk about how you can recognize it, stop it, and finally take control of your financial future. Why more money doesn't always mean more wealth. You'd think that earning more money would make life easier, right? That's what most people believe. But here's what actually happens. You get a raise, so you decide to upgrade your car. You start earning more, so you move into a bigger house. You feel like you have extra money, so you start eating out more, shopping more, and spending more on entertainment. Before you know it, your expenses have grown just as fast as your income. And suddenly, that extra money you were so excited about, it's already gone. This is why so many people, even those who make six figures, still struggle financially. Because instead of using their extra income to build wealth, they use it to buy more stuff. The dangers of emotional and addictive spending. Now, let's talk about something even trickier: emotional spending. Have you ever bought something just because you were feeling stressed, bored, or even just a little down? Maybe it's a fancy new gadget, a pair of shoes, or even an expensive dinner. In the moment, it feels good. It's a small reward, a pick-me-up. But later, you realize you didn't actually need it. That's what makes emotional spending so dangerous. It gives you temporary happiness, but leaves you with long-term financial regret. Here's a simple exercise to try. Next time you feel the urge to spend, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I'm feeling a certain way? If it's the latter, try replacing that habit with something else. Take a walk, call a friend, or do something you enjoy that doesn't involve spending money. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to break free from emotional spending, the expensive habit of gambling and playing the lottery. Now, this is a tough one, because so many people fall into this trap, the dream of winning big. Maybe you've thought, if I just win the lottery, all my financial problems will be solved. And it's easy to see why. The idea of turning a few dollars into millions sounds like the ultimate shortcut to wealth. But let's be real. The odds of winning are so incredibly small that you have a better chance of being struck by lightning. And yet, people still spend hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars a year on lottery tickets and gambling. The problem isn't just losing money, it's the mindset. When you rely on luck instead of smart financial habits, you set yourself up for disappointment. Instead, what if you invested that money wisely? Even just putting aside the money you would have spent on lottery tickets each month could turn into a significant amount of savings over time. True wealth isn't built on luck. It's built on smart choices and consistent effort. And the sooner you shift your mindset, the faster you'll start seeing real results. The cost of drinking at bars and nightlife spending. Here's another sneaky way people lose money: drinking at bars and spending on nightlife. Now, we all deserve to have fun. Enjoying time with friends and family is important. But let's take a step back and look at how much money actually disappears when nights out become a regular habit. A single drink at a bar can cost anywhere from $5 to $15, and that's before taxes, tips, and food. Go out a few times a month and suddenly you're spending hundreds of dollars without even realizing it. The funny thing is, many people go to bars not just for the drinks, but for the social experience. But who says you need to spend a fortune to have a good time? Instead of expensive bar nights, try hosting a get-together at home. Buy drinks from the store at a fraction of the price. Cook a nice meal and enjoy real conversations in a comfortable setting. You'll still have fun, but without the financial hangover. The beauty industry's secret. Do you really need all those products? Now, let's talk about something that especially affects seniors: personal care spending. The beauty industry is a multi-billion-dollar business, and every year it convinces people they need the latest anti-aging cream, expensive skincare routines, and high-end shampoos. But do you really need all of it? Most of the time, less is more. Instead of buying dozens of different products, stick to a simple, effective routine. A good moisturizer, sunscreen, and a few well-chosen essentials can do just as much for your skin as a $100 luxury cream. When you simplify your routine, you save money without sacrificing quality. And let's be honest, the best way to look youthful and vibrant isn't from a bottle. It's from staying active, eating well, and taking care of your body from the inside out. How to break free from lifestyle inflation and addictive spending. So now that we've talked about the traps, how do you escape them? Here's where the magic happens. The moment you recognize these spending habits, you can start changing them. And the best part, it's easier than you think. Try this. Pause before you buy. Ask yourself, do I actually need this, or am I just buying out of habit? Find cheaper alternatives. Whether it's entertainment, dining, or personal care, there's almost always a way to spend less without sacrificing quality. Put your extra money to good use. Instead of spending every extra dollar, start putting that money into savings, investments, or something meaningful for your future. A brighter financial future starts today. You don't have to wait years to see a difference. Just making one small change today, whether it's cutting back on emotional spending, avoiding lifestyle inflation, or choosing to save instead of gamble, can set you on the path to real financial security. And the best part? It's never too late to start. Now, in the next section, we're going to talk about something really important: how to prepare for long-term financial success and make sure your money is working for you, not against you. If you've ever wondered how to make sure you'll be financially secure for the rest of your life, you won't want to miss this. Let's keep going. In the last section, we talked about addictive spending and lifestyle inflation, how the more we earn, the more we tend to spend, often without even realizing it. We also uncovered how emotional spending, gambling, nightlife, and expensive beauty products can drain your finances little by little. But now, let's shift our focus to something even more powerful: how to make sure your money is working for you, not against you. Because here's the truth: you don't have to be rich to build wealth. You just have to be smart with your money. And if you make the right choices today, you'll feel financially secure for years to come. let's dive into the final and most important piece of the puzzle: the holiday spending trap. Are you overspending to show love? Now, this one hits home for a lot of people. Holiday spending. We all love the holiday season. It's a time for family, generosity, and celebration. But let's be honest, it's also a time when people spend way more money than they should. Every year, millions of people go into credit card debt just to buy gifts, decorations, and fancy meals. And why? Because we're told that spending money is how we show love. But here's a little secret. The best gifts don't have to cost a fortune. Think back to your most cherished holiday memories. Was it the expensive present you received? Or was it the laughter, the warmth, the moments spent with loved ones? Instead of overspending this year, try these simple money-saving strategies. Set a holiday budget. Decide in advance how much you can afford to spend and stick to it. Give meaningful gifts, not expensive ones. A handwritten letter, a homemade treat, or a heartfelt phone call can mean just as much, if not more, than a store-bought gift. Focus on experiences instead of things. Plan a movie night, a family game night, or a home-cooked dinner. The memories will last far longer than any present. When you stop associating love with money, you free yourself from the stress of holiday debt and focus on what really matters: spending time with the people you care about. The secret to financial freedom: spending less than you earn. At the end of the day, building wealth and financial security comes down to one simple rule: spend less than you earn. It sounds obvious, right? But it's amazing how many people struggle with this. Even those making six figures often find themselves in debt because they spend every dollar they make or more. So how do you make sure your money lasts? Track your expenses. Know where your money is going. Even a simple handwritten budget can work wonders. Save before you spend. Instead of spending first and saving what's left, do the opposite. Put money aside for savings first, then use the rest for expenses. Cut out unnecessary expenses. The small things add up. Cancel unused subscriptions, cook more meals at home, and resist impulse buys. When you make small changes in your daily habits, you'll start noticing something incredible. Your savings grow, your stress shrinks, and you feel more in control of your life. Smart investing. Making your money grow while you sleep. Now, let's take things one step further. Once you've stopped wasting money and started saving more, what do you do with that extra cash? Here's where the wealthy have a big advantage. They make their money work for them. That means they invest instead of just letting their money sit in a bank account. And guess what? You don't need to be rich to invest. Even small amounts can grow over time. Here's how you can start. Build an emergency fund first. Before investing, make sure you have at least 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses saved up in case of emergencies. Invest in things that grow over time. This could be stocks, real estate, or even a retirement fund. The key is to think long-term. Avoid get-rich-quick schemes. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Smart investing is about steady, consistent growth, not overnight success. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Even if you only invest a little, compound interest, the way money multiplies over time, can turn small investments into big wealth. Why true wealth is about freedom, not just money. At this point, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but what's the real goal here? And here's the answer. True wealth isn't just about having money. It's about having freedom. Freedom from stress. Knowing you have enough money to handle emergencies. Freedom from debt. No longer feeling trapped by credit card bills or loans. Freedom to enjoy life. Spending time with loved ones, traveling, or pursuing hobbies without worrying about money. That's why all these little financial habits we've talked about, cutting unnecessary expenses, avoiding debt, saving smartly, and investing wisely, are so powerful, because they're not just about making you richer. They're about giving you control over your own life. Your financial future starts today. So here's the big question. What's one small change you can make today? Could you cancel a subscription you don't use? Could you cook one extra meal at home this week? Could you set aside $20 for savings instead of spending it on something unnecessary? It doesn't have to be big. Even small steps can lead to a huge difference over time. And if you've made it this far, that means you're serious about taking control of your financial future. So don't stop here. Put one of these tips into action right now. Because at the end of the day, money isn't just about numbers. It's about peace of mind, happiness, and the ability to live life on your own terms. The journey to financial freedom. We've covered a lot, from spotting hidden money leaks, to breaking bad spending habits, to making smarter choices with your income. Now, the next step is yours. Are you ready to take control of your money and create a more secure future? If so, start today. Even the smallest action, choosing to save instead of spend, invest instead of waste, can lead to a lifetime of financial freedom. And if you found this helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share these insights with a friend or family member who could use a little financial wisdom. Because when we help each other grow, we all win. Your journey to financial freedom starts now. Let's make it happen.